The sky above Earth was burning. 1,000 alien warships floated in the blackness of space, their engines glowing like dying stars. From orbit, Earth looked peaceful. Blue oceans, white clouds, green lands. But above it, chaos ruled. Laser fire cut through the dark, silent vacuum. Explosions flashed like thunderless storms. Humans fought back with everything they had: steel, courage, and desperation. At the center of it all was Queen Zara'Kel, ruler of the Zalari Empire, known to humans as the Alien Queen of Death. Her command ship, the Obsidian Throne, was larger than a city. From her crystal throne, she watched as Earth's defense fleets burned. Her eyes, silver and cold, reflected the light of dying ships. Human resistance collapsing, her general reported. Their third fleet has fallen. Zara'Kel didn't smile. Victory meant nothing to her. It was just another world, another war. For centuries, her empire had expanded across galaxies, conquering, absorbing, destroying. But humans were different. They refused to surrender, even when their fate was certain. They fought like cornered beasts, fierce and wild. She admired that. And she hated it. On the holographic display before her, she watched a swarm of human fighters rush toward her flagship. Tiny metal insects compared to her massive vessel. They flew straight into death, firing uselessly but with no fear. Strange creatures, she whispered. They burn so fast. Yet they burned so bright. Then something unexpected happened. A signal appeared on her sensors. A single human ship breaking through both alien and human lines. It wasn't attacking anyone. It was heading straight for her flagship. Enemy vessel incoming, her officer warned. Should we destroy it? Zara'Kel tilted her head. No, let it come. The human ship moved like a ghost through fire. Its armor was scarred, engines flickering, but it refused to fall. The identification code appeared on the screen. An old Earth military ID, Commander Aric Vale. Zara'Kel frowned. That name was known across the stars. He had once been Earth's greatest hero, the man who destroyed 3 alien fleets single-handedly. The humans had called him the Iron Star, but years ago he vanished. Some said he died. Others said he betrayed his own kind, and now he was coming for her. Her generals panicked. Your Majesty, it's a trap. That man is dangerous. Zara'Kel stood from her throne, her long silver armor catching the light of distant explosions. I want to see him, she said calmly. Moments later, the human ship rammed into her hangar bay. Soldiers surrounded it, weapons ready. The air hissed as the ship's ramp opened, and from the smoke one man walked out, Commander Aric Vale. His armor was damaged, his face scarred, but his eyes burned with quiet fire. He looked neither afraid nor proud, just tired, as if he had seen too many wars. Alien guards aimed their plasma rifles, but Zara'Kel raised her hand. Lower your weapons, she ordered. Everyone hesitated. The human looked up and saw her, the queen of the empire that had destroyed half his world, and then he dropped his weapon. I'm not here to fight, he said. His voice echoed through the hangar. I'm here to end this war, the aliens hissed in disbelief. End the war? Against a fleet of thousands? Zara'Kel walked toward him slowly, her silver eyes locked on his. End it? She repeated. By surrendering. He shook his head. No, by killing the right enemy. Before anyone could react, the ship's alarms screamed. A massive blast shook the hangar. Human missiles had locked onto the flagship. Fire burst through the walls and chaos exploded. Zara'Kel's guards rushed to protect her, but she stood still, watching the human. He could have escaped, could have taken advantage of the confusion, but instead he grabbed her arm and pulled her behind cover. Stay down. He shouted. She stared at him, stunned. No one had ever dared touch her. No one had ever tried to save her. When the explosion stopped, smoke filled the air. Her guards were dead. The hangar was in ruins. Zara'Kel rose slowly, her voice cold but trembling. You saved me. Why? Aric wiped blood from his face. Because you're not the real enemy, he said. She frowned. Then who is? He looked up at the stars, where human ships and alien ships still killed each other. Both of us, he said softly. And I'm going to end it, even if I have to destroy everything. Zara'Kel felt something she hadn't felt in 1,000 years. Curiosity. This human wasn't like the others. He wasn't fighting for power or survival. He was fighting for something else. Something she couldn't yet understand. As the hangar doors sealed behind them, she realized one terrifying truth. This war had just changed, and the fate of both their worlds now rested in the hands of a man who had just saved his greatest enemy. The obsidian throne drifted silently through space, far from Earth's orbit. Smoke and fire still marked the damage from the last attack. The once proud warship now moved like a wounded beast. Inside the ship's control chamber, Queen Zara'Kel sat in silence. The alien guards stood around her, their armor cracked, their faces tense. None dared to speak. At the center of the room stood Commander Aric Vale, surrounded by soldiers with plasma rifles pointed at him. His hands were tied, but his eyes were calm. Zara'Kel finally broke the silence. "You had a clear chance to kill me," she said. "Why didn't you?" Aric looked at her. "Because I don't kill those who are already slaves." Her silver eyes narrowed. "Slaves? You think I am one?" "Yes," he said softly. "You serve your empire. I've seen the same in humans. Soldiers who obey, who fight without question. That's not strength. That's chains." Her guards growled in anger, but she raised her hand to silence them. There was something about this man that confused her, something both dangerous and honest. Zara'Kel stood and walked closer, her voice cold. "You speak of freedom, human, but your people destroy worlds. You call that freedom?" Aric smiled bitterly. "That's why I left them." The room fell silent again. The Queen studied his face. She could see pain there, deep and old. "You betrayed your own species," she said. "Why?" Aric looked away. "Because I saw what humans were becoming. We said we fought for survival, but we were just taking, conquering, burning. We became the very monsters we feared." For the first time, Zara'Kel had no answer. Outside, through the cracked window, stars drifted like lonely souls. The ship floated in the quiet dark, hiding from both alien and human forces. Later in the prison chamber, Zara'Kel visited him again. He was sitting on the floor staring at the stars through the small window. "You could have escaped," she said. "Your ship is gone. You have no army. Yet you saved me." He looked up. "Maybe I just didn't want to see another world burn." She tilted her head. "Strange words for a soldier." "I stopped being a soldier a long time ago," he replied. "Now I'm just a man trying to end a war." For a moment neither spoke. Only the soft hum of the ship's engines filled the air. Then Zara'Kel asked, almost to herself, "Do you hate your own kind?" Aric shook his head. "No, I just can't forgive them." "There's a difference." She looked away, thinking about her own people, the empire she ruled, the endless wars she had ordered. Was she any different? That night, Zara'Kel couldn't rest. The words of the human echoed in her mind. "Slaves, chains, monsters we feared." For the first time in her long life, the mighty alien queen began to doubt her own purpose. Days passed. The ship remained hidden among the ruins of old space stations. The queen ordered her fleet to stay silent. No signals, no battles. Her generals whispered behind her back. Some said she was losing her mind. Others said the human had cursed her, but she ignored them. Every day she visited Aric. They spoke, sometimes arguing, sometimes silent. He told her about Earth, about oceans and cities, about music and rain. She told him about her world, about the twin suns of Zilar Prime and the great crystal seas. And somehow, through those simple talks, something fragile began to grow, not friendship, not yet, but understanding. One evening, the calm was broken. An officer rushed in, trembling. "Your Majesty, we've intercepted a signal. It's from the Zalari High Fleet. They're coming for you." Zara'Kel's eyes widened. "How did they find us?" "They tracked your royal beacon, my queen," the officer said. "They believe you are captured. They are coming to rescue you." Aric, still behind his force field cell, stood up. "If your army arrives, they'll kill everyone, including me." Zara'Kel turned toward him, silent. He said, "You have to choose now, Queen. Your freedom, or mine." The words cut deeper than any weapon. For the first time, Zara'Kel felt fear, not for her life, but for what her decision would mean. If she called her fleet, she would live. The human would die. If she stayed hidden, she would be branded a traitor forever. She looked at Aric, who met her eyes without flinching. He seemed ready to die. "Why do you not beg for your life?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Because some things are worth dying for. Peace, maybe love." The last word caught her breath. No one had ever spoken that word to her, not even in jest. Before she could answer, the ship's alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed across the corridors. Her officer shouted, "The High Fleet has arrived. They're locking weapons." Zara'Kel closed her eyes. "The decision was made. Prepare my ship," she said. "I will face them myself." Then she looked back at Aric. "Stay alive, human. You've started something you cannot finish." He smiled, even in chains. "Neither can you." As she walked away, the sound of distant engines filled the air. The Queen of the Zelari was going to war, but for the first time, she didn't know which side she was fighting for. The darkness of space lit up with fire. The Zelari High Fleet had arrived. Hundreds of alien ships surrounding the Obsidian, thrown like a pack of wolves ready to strike. Their weapons glowed with deadly light, aimed directly at their queen's damaged flagship. Inside, alarms screamed. Soldiers ran through smoke-filled corridors. Queen Zara'Kel stood on the command deck, her silver armor gleaming under the red lights. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with conflict. Her general approached her, bowing deeply. "My queen, the High Council demands your immediate evacuation. They believe the human has taken you hostage." She turned to the window, watching her mighty fleet assemble in perfect formation. "Hostage," she whispered. "If only they knew." Behind her, in the prison chamber, Commander Aric Vale struggled against his restraints as the floor shook beneath him. Explosions echoed through the ship. A soldier entered his cell, pointing a plasma rifle. "You'll die with your ship, human." But before he could shoot, the walls trembled again. The Queen's voice echoed through the intercom. "Stand down," she commanded. "No one touches the prisoner." The guard froze, confused. Aric smirked. "Guess your queen still gives orders." Moments later, the door opened, and she was there. Zara'Kel stepped into the cell, her eyes meeting his. "Your people are coming to destroy me. My people are coming to save me. And somehow, I don't want either of them." Aric stared at her. "Then what do you want?" She paused. "The truth." The ship shook again, a direct hit from her own fleet. "They think you've corrupted me," she said bitterly. "That I've become human." Aric looked around as sparks fell from the ceiling. "Maybe they're right." She glared but couldn't hide the faintest smile. "You're a fool." "Maybe," he said, "but at least I'm a free fool." Another explosion rocked the ship. Sirens wailed. Her officers shouted over comms, "Queen Zara'Kel, enemy boarding craft detected. The High Fleet is sending troops." Zara'Kel drew her blade, a long glowing weapon made of living crystal. "Then they will see their queen one last time." She turned to Aric. "Stay behind me." He frowned. "I don't take orders from aliens." Her gaze hardened. "Then consider it a request." The doors burst open. Dozens of armored Zelari soldiers stormed in, their weapons ready, but Zara'Kel didn't move aside. She stood between them and the human. "Lower your weapons," she shouted. The soldiers froze, shocked. One of them, her oldest general, stepped forward. "My queen, you are under control of the human. We will free you." "No," she said firmly. "He is not my enemy." Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the troops. The general pointed his rifle. "You dare defend him, a human? They destroyed our colonies. They killed your sister." Zara'Kel's voice trembled. "Yes, and we killed theirs. Tell me, General, how many more worlds must die before it is enough?" Her words struck like thunder, but the general's anger was stronger than reason. "You are no longer fit to rule." He raised his weapon and fired. The beam shot across the room, aimed straight for the queen. Before she could react, Aric moved. He leapt forward, pushing her out of the way. The blast hit his chest. The impact threw him to the ground. Smoke rose from his armor as he fell, motionless. Zara'Kel froze in shock. For a moment, time itself seemed to stop. Her guards gasped as she knelt beside him, touching his face with trembling hands. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do that?" His eyes opened slightly, his voice weak. "Because no one else ever did the same for me." Her silver eyes filled with tears, something no alien had ever seen from their queen. She looked up, rage burning through her. "Enough!" she screamed. A wave of psychic energy exploded from her body, an invisible force that threw the soldiers across the room. The walls cracked, lights shattered, metal bent like paper. The general hit the floor, gasping. "My queen, what have you done?" She stood tall, eyes glowing like molten silver. "I am done with your wars." Then she looked down at Aric, still breathing weakly. "And I will not let him die for my sins." She grabbed his body, lifting him in her arms with surprising gentleness. Her soldiers watched, frozen between fear and awe. "Tell the High Council," she said coldly, "that their queen is no longer their weapon." She carried Aric through the burning halls of the ship, alarms blaring around them. Outside, her fleet hesitated. No one dared fire again. As the obsidian throne drifted toward the shadow of a nearby moon, Zara'Kel sent one final transmission to her empire. "I go where war cannot reach. If you follow, I will destroy you myself." Then she cut the signal. Her ship vanished into the black void. Behind her, the mighty Zalari fleet stood silent. Their queen had turned her back on them. And in her arms, the dying human, the man she once called enemy, became the only thing left she wanted to protect. The stars were quiet. The great warships of the Zalari Empire no longer followed. The obsidian throne, damaged and burning, drifted far from any known system, hiding among forgotten asteroids where no life existed. Inside, the once mighty queen sat beside a weak human. Aric Vale lay on a medical bed, his chest wrapped in alien healing bands that glowed faintly blue. His breathing was shallow but steady. Every few hours, Zara'Kel came to check on him herself, something no queen had ever done for anyone. Her generals were gone. Her soldiers were gone. Only a handful of loyal crew remained, those who believed more in her than in the Empire. As the ship floated through the dark, a strange peace filled the air. For the first time, there was no war. Only silence. Zara'Kel stood at the viewing deck, watching the stars. Her reflection stared back, a ruler of 1,000 conquered worlds, now running like a criminal. She whispered to herself, "What am I without my crown?" Behind her, a soft voice answered, "Alive." She turned quickly. Aric was awake, sitting up weakly. His eyes were tired but full of life. "You shouldn't be moving," she said. He smiled faintly. "I've had worse." She stepped closer. "You took a plasma shot meant for me." "You almost died." He shrugged. "You'd have done the same." Zara'Kel looked down. "No, I wouldn't have." Not before. Silence filled the room. Only the hum of the engines could be heard. After a long pause, Aric spoke again. "You can still go back, you know. Tell your people I forced you. They'll believe it." Her eyes turned cold. "And let them keep killing in my name?" He studied her face. "You really mean to fight them, don't you?" "Yes," she said, "but not with fleets, not with fire. There's another kind of war, and the war for truth." Aric leaned back, watching her. "That's a war no one wins easily." "I don't care," she said softly. "Someone has to start it." Days turned into weeks. The obsidian throne became a ghost ship, hidden deep within an asteroid belt, surrounded by silence. Zara'Kel spent her days sending secret signals, messages of peace, calling for both humans and Zalari to stop the endless killing. Aric helped her, teaching her how to use human channels to reach across the stars. One night, while they worked together, their hands touched. For a moment, neither moved. Something passed between them. Not words, not thoughts, just a quiet understanding. Two enemies, both broken, trying to fix what billions had destroyed. But peace never comes without a price. One evening, as they studied intercepted transmissions, the computer beeped. A new message flashed on the screen, from the Zalari Council. Zara'Kel froze as she read the words. "Queen Zara'Kel has been declared infected by humanity. She is no longer one of us. Elimination authorized. All loyal ships pursue and destroy." Aric frowned. "They're coming for you." "For us," she corrected. Her loyal officer entered the room, panic in his eyes. "My queen." "Their fleet approaches. Not humans, our own assassins." Zara'Kel turned to Aric. "They won't stop until I'm dead." Aric stood slowly. "Then we make them stop." He limped toward the weapons control panel. "You're injured," she said. He smirked. "Then I'll shoot from the chair." For a moment, Zara'Kel almost laughed. Even at the edge of death, the human found humor. But there was no time. Outside, the darkness of space filled with light. Sleek Zalari ships closing in, their engines glowing like cold suns. The obsidian throne powered up its old weapons. Though half were broken, Zara'Kel sat beside Aric, her fingers hovering over the controls. "If they want a queen," she said, "I'll show them one." The first attack came fast. Blue fire streaked through the blackness, hammering their shields. Aric fired back, aiming at their engines. "They're fast," he said. "Too fast." Zara'Kel gritted her teeth. "Then we changed the rules. She reached into the command console and pressed her hand against a glowing crystal. The ship responded. Its walls pulsed with light as if alive. Aric stared. "What are you doing?" "Calling the ancient power of my line," she said. "The power only a true queen can command." The ship's core began to glow brighter, humming like thunder. Energy surged through every deck. Outside, the pursuing ships hesitated. They recognized the sign, the Queen's wrath, a psychic storm only one being could control. Zara'Kel's eyes turned white with power. Her voice echoed through every comm channel. "My people, I gave you life. I gave you purpose, and now you come to take mine. If I must die, then let it be as the last queen of a dead empire." A wave of psychic energy burst outward. The nearest enemy ships were thrown away like leaves in a storm, their systems dead. Aric watched in awe. "You'll kill yourself doing this." She smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I'll save you first." He grabbed her hand, holding it tight. "Don't you dare leave me now." The light faded slowly. The storm ended. When it was over, the space around them was silent again. The enemy fleet had retreated, their systems crippled. Zara'Kel collapsed, weak but alive. Aric caught her before she fell. She looked at him, breathing heavily. "They'll come again. Then we'll be ready," he said. She smiled faintly. "Human stubbornness." "It might save the stars," Aric smiled back. "Or destroy them trying." For the first time in her life, the Queen laughed, softly like the sound of a forgotten song, but both of them knew the truth. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning, and next time both empires would come for them. The void of space trembled with engines and fire. The Zalari Empire and the human fleets had joined, determined to finish what they started. The obsidian throne, battered and scarred, drifted in the middle of the battlefield. Its hull was glowing faintly from the energy Zara'Kel had used in the last battle. Inside, Queen Zara'Kel and Commander Aric Vale prepared for the fight of their lives. They were surrounded by a small group of loyal humans and alien deserters, fewer than a dozen souls. The odds were impossible. "Impossible doesn't matter anymore," Zara'Kel said, her voice steady. "We fight because we must." Aric nodded. His armor was patched, but his chest still hurt from the blast she had saved him from. "Then let's make this stand count." The first wave of ships arrived, sleek alien destroyers and human cruisers, both firing simultaneously. Lasers cut through the darkness, painting the void with deadly light. Zara'Kel raised her hand and whispered words in an ancient tongue. Energy surged from the obsidian throne, forming a protective shield around them. The attackers screamed as their weapons were thrown back like pebbles against stone. Aric led a small strike team, moving through the corridors to disable key enemy systems. They moved quickly, quietly, like shadows. Every step was dangerous. Every breath could be their last. In the control room, Zara'Kel watched the battle unfold. Her heart raced. She had never felt fear like this, not for herself but for the human she now cared for. One of the loyal alien soldiers approached her. "Your Majesty, reinforcements are too strong. We can't hold them for long." Zara'Kel's silver eyes glowed. "Then we end it, one way or another." The enemy fleet closed in. Lasers tore through space around the ship. Aric's team signaled they had reached the main engines. "Time to finish this," Aric said, turning to his team. "Plant the charges." "We may not get out alive." Zara'Kel felt a pang in her chest. "No," she said firmly. "We both live. Or none of us do." The psychic energy inside her surged. The obsidian throne hummed as if alive. She extended her mind into the ships around them. Enemy ships froze mid-flight, their weapons failing. The battlefield slowed. Aric stared in disbelief. "You're doing what?" "I'm stopping them," she said. "All of them. But it will cost me everything." Outside, the ships froze like statues. Time seemed to bend. For a moment, the war stopped. No one moved. Only the Queen's energy pulsed like a beating heart. Inside, Aric grabbed her hand. "Zara, don't." She smiled faintly, tears in her silver eyes. "I have to. This is the only way." With a final surge of power, she released the psychic storm. Ships exploded in the void, engines and weapons melting into nothing. The battle ended instantly. Silence returned to the stars. Aric fell to his knees, exhausted. You saved everyone." Zara'Kel collapsed beside him, her energy spent. Her breathing was weak. She whispered, "Maybe love is the only weapon." That never destroys. Aric held her close, shaking. You'll live. You have to. But she smiled faintly, eyes closing. It's enough. If you survive. Her body faded, her energy dispersing into the stars. For the first time in history, the greatest queen of the Zellery Empire died not as a conqueror, but as a savior. Years later, a new world rose from the ashes of war, a planet that humans and aliens rebuilt together. Cities shimmered with light, half human, half Zellery. At the center of the new capital stood a monument, a tall, shining statue of Queen Zara'Kel, holding out her hand, as if reaching for the stars. Commander Aric Vale, older now, stood before it. His armor was long gone, replaced by simple clothes. He touched the statue gently. She was never Earth's enemy, he whispered. She was its savior. Children played in the streets around him, human and alien, laughing together. Peace had been born from sacrifice. Aric looked up at the sky, now calm and blue. Your fight is done, my queen. We will live as you hoped. And somewhere among the stars, the echo of her power lingered, quiet, gentle, and eternal. The war was over. The galaxy had been saved, and for the first time in centuries, humanity, and even aliens, knew what it truly meant to be free. The end.